Hello. This video I'm speaking about something that I've discovered recently about motivation and good habits, self-improvement, and discipline habits. So I'm gonna try and keep this straight to the point. Basically, for a very long time, I thought and assumed that the motivation for improving yourself comes first and then you get the habits. And I was sort of lacking on some habits because I was waiting for that motivation, that real strong core, that crazy drive that you feel where it's like you are just doing everything. All you want to do is improve yourself. And that feeling is so good. What I've actually realized is that feeling of motivation and really wanting to do it actually comes after you take the actions towards that process, right? And it sort of makes sense because when I first got into self-improvement, and you were probably the same, you sort of maybe found someone, and if you haven't gotten into self-improvement, this channel is a great place for you to start and get introduced to it. But what happens for most people is they hear about it, they learn about it, they start doing their habits, and then they get this motivation, this crazy feeling of like, oh, I really want to improve myself. And they keep going harder and harder. And then when they think about that story in their memory, and when I thought about it, it's like the story that I think about is I had all this crazy motivation and to do all this stuff, but it actually didn't start with the motivation. It started with trying these habits, and then the motivation sort of built up after that. So what I believe is happening, I'm quite confident it's happening, and I'm sure there's subtleties to this, but just take this as complete fact or else. Is you sort of, and I've drawn this dopamine increasing curve before, and it's very well documented in neuroscience, that when you do an action that's difficult, you get a dip in dopamine, then you get a spike afterwards, and you end up at a higher level, right? This is how it works, right? Lower dopamine, and yes, initially, but then you sort of get a spike afterwards, and your overall levels increase. So dopamine is sort of increase when you're in the pursuit of something, which I am literally just realizing that is exactly what I'm talking about. So basically, I've just realized that my whole revelation is something that's very well known about, that dopamine, actually, I don't know, that could be unrelated. Let's get back to it. For a bad habit, just while we're here, you instantly get a dopamine spike, and then later on it goes to a low level and your dopamine decreases over time. But for good habits, yeah, this happens, and we're getting better and better. Our dopamine levels are increasing all the time. And our dopamine is basically our motivation. It's basically a chemical we get when we're in the pursuit of something. So, what happens is our dopamine never increases to begin with, right? Say that, so our dopamine is our pursuit, our motivation. So if we want to be motivated in pursuing, improving ourselves, there's no way to get an immediate dopamine is motivation, right? There's no way to get an immediate motivation, because the only way we get immediate motivation is from things that will give us immediate dopamine, which we know are bad habits. Like video games, for example, you can get immediate motivation to play a video game. You just open up your laptop and you're sweet. Or you get on your computer or to watch some porn or something. But there's no really way to get immediate motivation from a healthy habit. You have to do it first, and then you get that increased level. This is where the motivation is. All right, so now that we've discussed the sort of chemicals and stuff behind it, this is exactly what you can do, right? This is what's really helped me, is there's something that you probably deep down in your core know that you would like to want to do. So if you used to be, or have never been, whatever, say, for sake of this example, if you used to be really like obsessed with improving yourself, and you just had this awesome optimistic drive in the world to improve yourself so much, and you're wondering why you don't have it and you're trying to get it back, what I want you to do is, instead of thinking, damn, I need this motivation again, why do I not have this motivation? Maybe it's because this person's in my life, that person. What I want you to do, sorry I keep getting distracted by the way, there's a beautiful sky out there. I don't really want to show you though, because I look into people's backyards here and it's a bit like intrusive. Anyway, exactly what I want you to do is to think hard, because when you're really motivated, it's easy to think about the things you want to do. Think hard about the exact habits that you would be doing if you had this crazy drive, all right? Now, I want you to do those exact habits and see what happens. Because for me, for ages, I don't know, I wasn't really that motivated to work on my appearance again and this and that. I went and got this wicked haircut, which I love, and I just forced myself to kind of go and do it, forced myself to get do a bit more of these habits, and immediately I feel that motivation again to focus on these things, because I know I'm in that spike that we talked about. So say it's going to the gym, and you used to just push so hard and used to love it, you used to get up early, and now you just can't really be fucked and like you're lazy with it, it just doesn't feel the same as it used to. What I want you to do is just admit to yourself that the motivation will not come. What I want you to do is to go and do one just tomorrow with no motivation. Force yourself, even if you feel shit, because like the problem is that when you have all this crazy motivation, you feel good. It's easy to get up early and go to the gym, but when you don't have that motivation, you feel like a fucking loser and you don't want to get up and you feel anxious and shit. I want you to just fuck that off. Just for one day, do it. Because if you really, really remember when you started this all, it wasn't easy. It was shit. For the very first time you did it, for me at least, it did fucking suck. But then immediately after, I was fucking hooked and I was on it. So what I want you to do tomorrow is fuck all that anxiety off. Go and do it anyway. Push really fucking hard. Pretend you have all this crazy motivation and just see what happens. I am fairly certain that you will find that motivation again. And it's so easy to get in this feeling of like, you know, one thing I'm going to start doing very soon. So I used to run when I started on my self-improvement journey. I weekly would do a 5K community run and really fucking push myself. And it fucking really sucked. It was so fucking hard and fucked up. But over time, I just like stopped trying as hard because I thought I was less motivated. I'd try less hard, and I thought I was trying less hard because I was less motivated. But when I really think back to the start, I was never motivated. It fucking sucked. It was so hard, but I just did it anyway. And then I got the motivation after. So it's not like I was not running hard because I wasn't motivated. You have to just do it anyway, and it sucks. But do you remember when you started? It all sucked. There was like that 1 or 2 week period when you started, and if you're new to self-improvement and you're about to start, this will happen. And I want you to remember, I want you to journal and remember exactly how hard it is so that you never forget. Basically, I think the whole message of this is that the dopamine and that drive does not come from wanting it. It actually comes from doing it, all right? Doing it, not from wanting it. So, yeah, if you want to be motivated to run hard again, you need to start running hard to get that motivation. If you want to be motivated to study hard at school and to do your homework, you have to do it, and you have to start doing it before you get that motivation. The motivation from healthy habits, dopamine, does not come from thinking about it or from the completion. It comes from doing it, from the hard work. If you want to sustain good motivation, you have to be doing hard work. That's not something I've learned. That's a specific scientifically proven thing. Yeah, so I just found this really interesting and really helpful in getting some of that fire back, that really strong motivation back, and sort of like telling myself to just shut the fuck up, and like, instead of thinking, oh, I need this motivation, I need that, just do the things anyway, because that's really what all of this is about, isn't it? It's about writing a list of things that you know you can do to improve yourself, and whether you want to do them or not, you do them. If we only do them when we want to, then we just go back to being a fucking chud. We go back to what we ran away from in the first place. One second. It may so happen that what happened for me is that eventually this motivation got so strong from all the disciplined habits that I kind of stopped living a disciplined life, and I was just doing really productive things all the time because that's what I actually liked. But then your desire actually goes down. Is a weird thing that I found, is that I was being more productive than ever. I've had periods of my life where I'm more disciplined and more productive than you probably could ever dream of being. But I felt none of that. Like, it was just easy for me because I was so motivated to do the things. But over time, I just slowed down because I wasn't. It's almost like it has to be hard. It can't be easy and it can't be fun. You almost don't want motivation. It's almost like, to really do the most effective things, you have to really not want to do them. You almost have to choose the things that seem the most fucked up and shit and do those. You know? You can almost get like sick on motivation, where it's like every day you want to go to the gym and it's like there's different reasons for wanting to go. It's like, if you're wanting to go and you don't have any resistance, you're probably not working hard enough, you know what I mean? Unless you're a fucking maniac, which there are maniacs out there, like bodybuilders, who like actually love the feeling of pain of going in the gym. But most people, like, you sort of like, there's a truck going past, you can probably hear it. If you just skipped ahead, you're a chud with a fucked up attention span. Or if you just went to the comments, you're also a chud with a fucked up attention span. Alright? Like, just admit it. That's kind of retarded that you did that, right? Like, what is the reason for doing that? Like, you just needed a bit more dopamine. Like, I'm not going to sit around and watch. Yeah, but like, you could have been lazy, but you actually took action to get more dopamine. So your attention is fucked, alright? Just letting you know that. Actually, if you've gotten this far in a video like this, your attention's probably not fucked. Well, you can be with me and know that it's not fucked, but you know what it's, that anyone, I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. I'm really trying to implement this in my own life. Here we go. Motivation comes after action. Through action. Yeah. I always had this thought, I remember running, it was so fucked up. I was really fucking pushing myself. And if you've ever like run, well done. If you've ever run like really hard for a long time, like 5K, you know that shit fucking destroys your soul. Like, and obviously I'm kind of a bitch because like people in the army probably run like fucking 20Ks while they're getting fucking abused verbally by someone, and like they're actually dying. They could be fat as well and just like getting fucked up. But for like a normal chud like me, no, I'm not chud, but normal people, like, yeah, you can be running and it fucking hurts so bad. And I remember telling myself this shit, that whenever I was running so hard and pushing so hard, it was actually easier. I'm realizing now it's because that motivation comes through the action, through the hard work. And I was getting dopamine. And if you have dopamine for anything in life, it's going to be so much easier, because dopamine is literally what makes you want to do shit. So if you want to do shit, it's not difficult, right? And I remember telling myself, harder is better. It's actually easier to do this run if you're really fucking pushing. But it was so hard to convince myself of that because I was never committed to just pushing so hard because it's so difficult and whatever. But you just have to like basically just put blind trust. And if you start trying really hard and you're not feeling that motivation, don't be like, oh no, I guess it doesn't work. Keep trying hard. Just trust me. Just keep fucking pushing. Don't wait for it, because like that's kind of retarded. If you're like waiting for it, then like you're not really focusing on just pushing hard. I don't know. You almost have to like forget about everything I've told you and then just try really hard to really get these effects. It's what they call the runner's high, I guess. But even not, if you're depressed the entire run, you're gonna finish it and be like, oh fuck yeah, because you just tried so hard. You know, I've always thought that going 100% is way easier than, like, it's your only option. You have to go balls deep in everything you do, everything. And I think this is why. It's because it's almost like you don't unlock that little bit of motivation unless you're fucking balls deep in everything. If you're half-assing your study, you're not just doing half, you're doing 20% the quality with much less of the motivation anyway. You're working out, it's like you probably know this feeling where it's like you can either be fucking in the zone or not, and it's like you're actually just better off just fully committing. And with anything, you're having a conversation with someone, don't be like thinking about this and that, checking your phone. Be 100% in that, like, and everything you do, just whatever you end up doing, just be like, I'm here. It's easier if you go 100% in, and if it's not feeling easier, you're probably 99% in. You're not 100. When you're 100, it is easier. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye. I love you. Oh, also, I've got it might not be up right now, but probably whenever you're watching this video, top link in the description, I've got a full guide on dopamine detoxing that I've been working on. It might not be out yet, but you can pre-order it at a discount if it's not out, so you should get on that. Yeah, full guide to dopamine detoxing, which is like, you probably know what it is, but if you don't, it's basically where you like fix your dopamine levels by not doing unhealthy dopamine things, and I explain all this science and exactly what you need to do and why it's so good for you. It's paid, it costs money, but it's affordable. So yeah, top link in the description if you're interested in that. All right, goodbye.